Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the College Football Pregame Show. This is our second episode coming out today. We're doing the American Conference preseason picks. Well, in case you couldn't tell, I might be a little biased. However, I'm going to do my best to put more into this video than just glazing Charles Huff for 34 minutes. We'll see how that goes. I will do my very best to be objective, and I promise I will not pick us to go undefeated, if that makes you feel any better. We're going to do it a little differently. We're going to have me give my power rankings, talk about the teams, and then I'm going to make the picks. Timestamps might be showing. My editing software decided it didn't want to work for the Sunbelt video, so the timestamps did not work for that. If you are very curious and want to go watch the Sunbelt video, the picks start at 16 minutes, 52 seconds. With that, let's get right into my power rankings for this conference. Starting all the way down at number 14, I have the UAB Blazers. They were pretty bad last year, other than a specific upset win that they shouldn't have gotten away with at home. I'm still not confident in Alex Mortensen as a hire. I feel like any of the success they had towards the end of the season may have been more about just the team rallying after their coach being fired. Trent Dilfer was fired about halfway through the year last year, than actual good talent and coaching. But I'm not completely prepared to write him off yet either. He might end up being a really good coach. Ryder Burton, I'm not sure about at quarterback. Now, he's definitely their best option, but it's just a little risky. He's not super proven. He might be good, but I mean, he even has pretty high potential, I think, if he's good. But the possibility that he ends up being terrible is probably a little too high for my liking. The defense is pretty lackluster in general, pretty poor stats overall. Not looking great for UAB, but they love playing spoiler in Birmingham, so maybe they'll be able to figure something out. Now, moving to number 13 on my list, the Charlotte 49ers. Charlotte has Grayson Loftus, a quarterback, coming off a 1.4 thousand yard season. 55% completion percentage, little low for my taste. Pretty solid, I guess, on the offense in general. They got 3 600-yard receivers, although 2 of them were from the FBS level. The defense is pretty average. Tom Alvin had a pretty rough year one as head coach, so we'll see how he turns out this year, and this team turns out this year. It's not looking too exciting, though. Number 12, I have the Rice Owls, the first of 3 Owls that will appear on this list. I'm sorry, I don't like being in this conference. We have a freaking mascot. Its name is Soar the Eagle, and it's dumb. I'm not here to hate on the teams in the conference, but whoever's idea Soar the frickin' Eagle was needs to not be working in the conference's marketing department, is all I'm saying. Sorry about that. Moving to the Rice Owls. Rice Owls. Let's see, I have them ranked number 12. Oh yeah, they got Ja'Cory Brown, who's back up from UCF, has transferred in. Might end up being pretty good. I like the fairly consistent statistics that he's put together across his career. They've got Quentin Jackson, a running back, got 889 yards last year rushing. The really only defensive standout I see is A.J. Brown, not the Eagles' A.J. Brown, the linebacker A.J. Brown from Rice. He's got 53 tackles last year, and making him the only defender with more than 40. Not horrible, but not as good as I would like to see in this conference, which can be so competitive towards the top levels of the league. Scott Abel's been a pretty solid head coach. He managed to take a pretty rough team to, I think, a 5-7 record last year. I think they technically got a bowl bid because they didn't have enough spots. So I'm not going to doubt him, but the roster does not look great again this year. Number 11, I'm going to have the Army Black Knights. They got Kel Hallam at quarterback. They got 700 passing yards last season and 1,200 rushing yards last season, which is the most Service Academy football stat I've ever heard in my life. They don't have a defender with 35 or more tackles, which is a bit concerning. Jeff Monken is going into year 13 as the head coach of the program, one of the longest tenured in college football. The problem with the offense, I think, is that Kate Kellum is the only person moderately sleep-deprived for me writing these notes found worthy of having their name written down. It's not too exciting across the board. I don't think they're going to be terrible, but I just don't see a great year coming from the Black Knights this season. Number 10, we have the Temple Owls. Temple is, they don't really have any experienced quarterback options. They got a bit of a quarterback battle going on, but I think Jackson Smolik is probably the favorite. Pretty average all around, which isn't bad, but if you want to compete in the American Conference, you're going to need to do a little better than average. Casey Killer has been an all right as a coach. I don't think he's bad by any means. Again, I just don't think I don't think they have a high enough ceiling to really do well this season, although the floor is not that at all. And then number 9 in my power rankings, I have the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. Baylor Hayes comes back at quarterback with 2,100 passing yards. Overall, pretty solid offense. He's got some receivers to throw to. He's got a solid rushing game under him. On the defensive end, I really like Devin Hightower coming off an 81 tackle season at linebacker. The coaching I'm a bit concerned in. Trey Lamb had a pretty rough year one. I think they went 3-9, 4-8. 4-8 sounds right. I'm just not super confident in the coaching staff. I'm not blaming a bad season entirely on one person, even if they are the head coach. It's just I don't think the faith in that offense and that defense has been earned enough. Even if the roster looks pretty good, I'm not sure I really believe in the coaching just yet. Now, number 8 is the Tulane Green Wave, and this is pretty low for Tulane. This is not looking to be a good year for them. Of course, their coach is gone. Most of their team is gone. Let's see. At quarterback, they have, I'm very sorry if I get your name wrong, buddy. Zayon, Chris Gramillion, the backup from Houston, has transferred in. They don't have any defensive linemen with 2 sacks last season. They have no defensive lineman with multiple sacks, which is definitely a concern. I kind of like the Will Hall hire. A lot of people are not too excited about promoting a defensive coordinator from within the organization. I think Will Hall's going to turn out to be a pretty solid coach. Maybe not as consistent and good as John Summerall, but I think I'm a bit more confident in him than a lot of people are. So I don't think they're going to be terrible this year. It's just, again, this is a competitive conference with a very long list of contenders who could absolutely have a great season, play in the conference championship game, maybe even win. It's just a top-heavy conference. The only reason the American isn't really considered a great conference is because the floor is so low. It's a problem the Sun Belt faces a lot. We're going to talk about the next thing, and that is a team that technically isn't in the conference, but they're in this video. That is the UConn Huskies. I'm not going to give them a power ranking, but if I were, it would be right here in between Tulane and the team that will come next. Almost gave you a spoiler. UConn, the QB is probably going to be Jake Merklinger. It's not a sure thing just yet. I am not super confident in the rush game. I do like Kayvon Sherman at linebacker, coming off 93 tackles last season. They don't have anybody in the secondary with 20 tackles, which is worrisome at the least. Jason Candle is an excellent head coach coming in after a full decade spent at Toledo. I am excited to see what he can do in the future. This year, I don't think it's going to be great, but he's still such a good coach. Even with a pretty mid roster, he should be able to drag a bowl game, maybe even 7-8 wins if the schedule is favorable, which I actually haven't seen the schedule yet. I don't look at schedules before I do these picks, so I don't manipulate games or something to get Memphis into the conference championship. Moving on. Number 7, we have the Navy midshipmen. They don't have Blake Horvath like they had last year and the year before that. He was such a driver in that offense. really good quarterback, but they don't have him no more. They don't have any quarterback candidates, in fact, with more than 20 passing attempts last season. They don't have any running backs with more than 20 yards last season. They don't have any wide receivers with more than 10 receptions last season. In fact, this is a really, really inexperienced offense altogether. So you're probably curious as to why I ranked them in the top half of the conference. It's because I love this defense. They probably have the best defense in the conference. They have 3 defenders with more than 75 tackles last season. And I don't think the offense is bad. It's just very inexperienced. Hopefully some of the players will be able to step up, I guess except when we're playing Memphis, in which case I hope that none of them step up. They all have terrible football careers. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So, inexperienced offense, but incredible defense with Brian Newberry at the helm once again this season. It's probably going to be pretty good. Number 6 is FAU, the Florida Atlantic Owls, which are the second Owls. Temple. This is the third Owls appearing on this list. Is Florida Atlantic. Their coach, Zach Kittley, is in year 2. He is only 32 years old, which, if I am not mistaken, makes him the youngest active head coach in the FBS. And clearly, he is certainly coaching like someone with a lot more experience than he is. The air raid offense, I think they call it the Owl Raid, which would be cool if there weren't 2 other Owls in this conference. Worked excellently with the transfer from Western Kentucky, Caden Veldkamp, throwing 3,600 yards, and Easton Messer, the wide receiver, with 1,000 receiving yards. Very impressive overall. It's just the rush game is such a concern, and the defense was such a concern. Like last year, we just ran all over them with a lousy Memphis team. We beat them 55-27, just stomped them in their own football stadium. I'm really not confident in the defense that much this year either, which is why I haven't ranked them towards the top. But their offense is so good that they're probably going to win some games 52-45. So I am pretty confident as long as nobody gets injured. I'm worried I just jinxed them. As long as Caden Veldkamp stays healthy, because I don't trust any of the backups. I don't think I've seen any of them be consistent enough. I could be wrong. I didn't look too in-depth at the quarterback room. But FAU could be a serious threat in this conference as long as everyone stays healthy. Moving on to number 5, ECU. ECU is, I've heard some people are really high on the Pirates this year. I think they're going to be pretty good. Apparently, Memphis has a 3-game skid against them, so we got to fix that. They do have a bit of quarterback battle going on. They got Emory Williams transferring in from Miami, and Mitch Griffiths from Texas Tech. He was previously the starter at Wake Forest. There's no finality on that yet. We'll give you updates when it comes in, assuming I am informed of it when it comes in. Let's see. They have a trio of 300-yard running backs. They've got pretty good wide receivers overall. They have 2 new coordinators on the offense and defensive end, and they're both named Jordan, which I felt the need to write down. Let's see, Blake Harrell's still the head coach. Overall, pretty solid team. Should be able to compete. Maybe not quite at the level to be trying out for a conference championship, but they will definitely be competitive. Definitely finish pretty well this season. Now, 4th place, North Texas. Now, Eric Morris and pretty much last year's entire North Texas team is on Oklahoma State now. So I don't think they have much continuity. However, they do have the 2,100-yard starting quarterback from Power Conference School. UCF, technically a Power Conference School. Taven Jackson is his name. Taven Jackson. Let's see. They don't have much else very exciting on the offensive end. They've got a pretty solid wide receiver room, but no real standout star players. On the defense, Aaron Alexander recorded 92 tackles, the linebacker. Maybe not the most impressive secondary, but definitely something a good coach can work with. Neil Brown is the incoming head coach for North Texas, so hopefully he'll do pretty good. after his little stint as an assistant from under Steve Sarkisian at Texas. He should be pretty solid as a head coach. Now, number three, that is the Texas San Antonio Roadrunners. Owen McCown returns at quarterback after a heartbreaking 2,990 yards last season, just short of the 3,000 mark. Maybe he'll hit it this year. And 30 touchdowns. They also have Will Henderson at running back off an 850 rushing yard season. I think a little more, actually. Over 850, excuse me. This is a really impressive offense. My concern is the defense. They don't have a single defender with more than 40 tackles, which isn't 40 tackles is a pretty solid stat. Maybe not great, but it's solid at any position. And not having a single defender reach that stat shows at the very least inexperience, if not poor talent on the defense. They do have Jeff Traylor returning as the head coach, who has been pretty excellent for UTSA. So we'll see what they have to offer. I'm ranking them number 3. Now, number 2 is the South Florida Bulls. One of my co-hosts who will be showing up during the regular season episodes is a South Florida fan, so he'd kind of be upset if I didn't rank them this high. Number 2 in my power ranking, they have Michael Van Buren transferring in from LSU. 1.5 thousand passing yards. He was the backup for Garrett Nussmeier last year. The defense is a bit concerning. They have really good safety room. Nico Grammatica returns at kicker. And they have Brian Hartline coming in at head coach. He's had a lot of NFL experience. So that's a really exciting hire, and I'm curious to see how it turns out, having an NFL coordinator. I think he also was Ohio State's offensive coordinator most recently, but I could be mistaken. Coming in at head coach for a mid-major school. I'm really excited to see how that turns out. So overall, I'm having them at number 2. And now, the moment that I have been waiting for, number 1 in my preseason power rankings, the University of Memphis Tigers. Here's what I have on them. So we did have a quarterback battle going on. It's still ongoing. It seems that, as of late, Marcus Stokes has gotten the edge over Aaron Noland. Marcus Stokes was a 4-star recruit, I don't think 5-star, who had a scholarship to Florida, and then it was taken away for reasons that I will not be discussing on this program. He then committed to the University of West Florida, a Division II school, did excellent, and now is transferred into Memphis. On the other hand, Aaron Noland has been a backup under Lenora Sellers, and I believe he was originally committed to Ohio State. So, a lot of talent overall. As of late, it seems that the favor has gone a little more to Marcus Stokes. So, he is the expected starter. I wouldn't say the projected starter. Let's see. We also have Dallin Hayden, the incoming running back transfer from Colorado. Very exciting. The returning wide receiver, Brady Cluse, made an epic one-handed catch against Arkansas. You need to look that up. Absolutely incredible. Let's see. You have an incoming tight end, Hunter Tipton, who had 400 yards receiving at Middle Tennessee, which is pretty darn good for a tight end. And then on the defensive end, Charles Huff, who I'll talk about later. He gets glazed later. Let me talk about the defense first. Jamon Tapp, the defensive lineman, definitely one of the best in mid-majors. Maybe even an All-American second-team candidate. He had 8 sacks last year, was absolutely incredible for Southern Miss, and I am very excited to have him on our defense. We also have Ian Foster at safety, 76 tackles. Michael Montgomery at linebacker with 106 tackles last year, which I believe is the most for any player in the conference. And now I get to talk about Charles Huff, the incoming head coach from Southern Miss. Our former head coach, Ryan Silverfield, departed for Arkansas. Wishing the best for him. I'll be real, we'll talk about this in the SEC video, but I am not excited about Arkansas this year. But I do hope he does well. Charles Huff, a former Nick Saban head coach, assistant head coach to be specific, was at Marshall and then left last year to Southern Miss, took a team that I believe had just gone 1-11 to a bowl game, second place in the division for the conference, and all-around incredible season, incredible roster. And now, after just 1 year at Southern Miss, sorry Golden Eagles, we need a good coach, has come to Memphis with his incredible experience. I am very excited to see what he can do. I know he's not watching, but welcome to Memphis, Charles Huff. We are excited to have you. I am really, really hoping for a great, hopefully several years with Charles Huff at head coach, and very excited even in year one. Now, oh my goodness, I went for 20 minutes. Whew, boy. Let's get right into the picks. Starting, do we have any week 0? Week 0, I already picked Memphis to beat UNLV. Excuse me. Week 1, we have Tulane at Duke. Tulane, last year, I believe, won this game. Or at least made it very... Who won? What was the score of Tulane? Tulane. They won, right? Yeah, Tulane won that game. However, Tulane is going to significantly regress this year from what I've seen. I'm taking the Blue Devils. Army will beat an FCS opponent. Charlotte will beat an FCS opponent. I already picked Memphis to beat Arkansas State in the Sun Belt video. Navy will beat Towson. Rice will beat Houston Christian. Weren't they Houston Baptist? I guess they're Houston Christian now. Temple will beat Rhode Island. Oklahoma State actually lost to Tulsa that last season. This year it's not happening, despite probably some significant improvement from the Golden Hurricane. There's even much more significant improvement from Oklahoma State. They look great this year, but we'll save that for Big 12 week. South Florida beats FIU. UTSA will beat an FCS opponent. Illinois will beat UAB. Indiana will beat North Texas. I do feel bad for Neil Brown and the gang. They have to walk into... That's weird. Man, I remember not thinking of Indiana as a very scary opponent, and now Kurt Signetti went and Kurt Signetti'd his way to 16-0. This game is not going to go well for North Texas. Same deal here. ECU is not going to beat Alabama, even if Alabama is really down this year. Oh man, if Florida was bad, I would think FAU would win this game just because their offense is so good. This game's probably going to be like 56-42. It's going to be a lot of offense, but I'm going to take the Gators. The game is in the Swamp, very tough place to play. USF at Army. Under normal circumstances, this would be a very competitive game, but the Black Knights are just not good this year. I'm going with the Bulls. East Carolina, I already picked to beat App State. Navy at FAU might even be an easy win for the Owls. I really like what Zach Kittley's doing in Boca Raton. Let's see. Does they have a little nickname for it? I don't know. They have it. If you're an FAU fan, tell me what that little nickname for Boca Raton and the school is. It's something to do with beaches and how nice it is. Okay. Temple, and isn't it Paradise Stadium or something? I don't know. Penn State and Temple. That's going to be a win for the Nittany Lions and Matt Campbell. Tulane will beat South Alabama. I don't think UAB can hold up against UL Monroe. UNLV is probably going to run the tables against North Texas. Tulsa can beat Sam Houston State. Notre Dame can beat Rice. And Memphis and Boise State. I think Memphis is not better, but these are the kind of games that Memphis wins. Memphis wins games they're not supposed to win. Memphis wins close competitive games, or at the very least plays much better. For example, our team was trash last year by Memphis standards. We were not good. We finished the season 2-4. I went to the game against Navy, which was A, depressing, but B, there were fans telling right behind the sideline, yelling at Ryan Silverfield to go to Arkansas. One of the fans got in a very vulgar engagement with one of our defensive players. Ended with some very rude hand gestures. Not good. Last year we were bad, and we still almost took out playoff-bound Tulane. We almost beat them. These are the kind of games we play well in. Maybe we're better against Power 4 opponents, but we're still pretty good against good mid-majors. Boise, again, the blue field is a pretty tough place to play as well. I wish I could just abstain and make this pick Pac-12 week, but this is American Conference week. I picked the American Conference games. I think I'm going to go with the Tigers, and I promise you I'm not being completely biased here. I do think this is an absolutely winnable game on the road, especially if Boise State isn't performing up to expectations. This is the kind of game that Memphis plays well in, and with the roster I think we are capable of playing well in it. Then, UTSA at Texas State. I haven't looked at Texas State yet, but I have looked at UTSA, and I think I'm taking the Roadrunners. They're so much better in the Alamo Dome, but I think they can get a win on the road here. Charlotte does not stand a chance against them. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that team's name. It's disgusting. FIU against FAU. You know what? For the second time in this series now, I'm going to switch a pick. I have, looking at FAU's roster, decided that they are a better team than I thought they were when I did my CUSA video. Which, by the way, has 75 views. Thank you, CUSA fans. Thank you very much. Then, Memphis, UT Martin, should be a win for the Tigers. Western Michigan can handle Rice on the road. Tulsa and South Florida will beat FCS opponents. Kansas State ought to breeze right past Tulane. I really wish they weren't bad this year. I kind of enjoy having a rivalry with them. They've historically been in the same boat, being stuck in a bad conference as a decent program. I want them to do well, so it's a competitive game when we play them. It's always fun, but it's not looking good this year. Toledo will beat Temple. Texas State, again, I don't know enough about, but I think I'm also going to take North Texas on the road. I'm going to take Texas in DKR Texas Memorial against Texas San Antonio. Two teams with very strong home field advantages. However, one of them is Texas and one of them is Texas San Antonio. Then I already picked App State to beat Charlotte. I already beat ECU to beat Old Dominion. I already picked Louisiana to beat UAB, so that'll wrap up week 3. We have the University of Louisiana against Charlotte. I'm sticking with the Raging Cajuns. ECU to beat North Carolina Central. And then Army at Temple. I think I'm going to go with the Owls, which is not specific in this conference. I'm going with Temple. Tulane to beat Southern Miss. Navy to beat UAB. North Texas against an FCS opponent. That's Houston Christian's second American Conference opponent. Goodness gracious. And I think UTSA is strong enough to beat Colorado State. Again, they're just a different beast in the Alamo Dome who you do not want to play. I picked Bowling Green to beat South Florida, and honestly, I'm going to stick with it. I am still high on what Eddie George is doing. Yes, that Eddie George. In Bowling Green, I'm sticking with the Falcons. I'm going to take Fresno State to beat Rice. I haven't studied the Pac-12 yet, but word on the street is they're pretty good. And Arkansas, let's just say, has struggled against opponents from the American Conference in the past year. But I think that will flip this year. I'm taking the Razorbacks. And then I'm going to take FAU to beat Louisiana Monroe. Now to week 5, Memphis beats Charlotte. FAU will beat Texas Southern. Texas San Antonio will beat Rice on the road. And then I think I'm going to have North Texas beat Tulsa. UAB can handle an FCS opponent. They're not good, but I don't think they're that bad. And then South Florida will beat Temple. Now in week 6, we've got Tulane at Army. Honestly, this is a competitive game, and neither of them are where they should be usually as a program. I think I'm going to go with the Green Wave on the road. This seems like one of those games they'd win. ECU at home. Memphis, if we lose this game, I will be most upset, is all I'm going to say. I'm taking the Tigers to beat Alabama Birmingham, who has, again, I couldn't find anything good to write down about them. I'm going to pick us to win that game. Navy beats Tulsa. Oh, I've been forgetting to do. We'll do UConn at the end. And then UConn at Temple. I think I'm going to go with Temple because the game is in Philadelphia. Otherwise, I wouldn't. But even though that's not much of a home field advantage, it's honestly kind of sad when they can't fill up. It's not fair to them, but they can't fill up the Philadelphia Eagles Stadium. And then North Texas beats Charlotte. UTSA at home against South Florida. That's a nasty game if you're the Bulls. And in fact, I think I'm going to take it as an opportunity to pick an upset over South Florida. I'm going with UTSA. Then FAU at Army. I'm going to go with FAU. I really like the Owl Raid offense. I'm sorry, that's dumb. I am happy if you like it, FAU fans. I'm not saying that. Rice at home against Tulsa, I think I will pick that one. I think I'm going to go with the Owls, which is probably like the 5th time I've said that this video. Temple, I'm going to go with the Owls against Charlotte. Memphis at Tulane. Okay, let me explain to you something about Memphis, and it might be a rant, so a timestamp might be showing up when I stop venting. Has historically been terrible against bad teams. We play down to our competition, and I think it's a culture issue. It's not a coaching issue. At football and basketball, under Justin Fuente, we played down to our competition. Under Mike Norvell, we went to the Cotton Bowl. Our one loss in the regular season that year was to Temple. None of our Power 4 opponents, Power 5 then, it was Temple. Under Ryan Silverfield, we did a lot of playing down to our opponents. 6-0. We started 6-0, lost to UAB. Although, again, we were really bad last year. I would say especially at basketball. Under John Calipari, we played down to our competition and got upset when we shouldn't. Again, that was when Memphis was really good at basketball and everyone else in our conference was really bad at basketball, so we were everyone's big game. And then, under Josh Pastner, I do remember Josh Pastner, nice guy. I really wish we hadn't fired him. That was sad. We played down to our competition. Under Tubby Smith, we definitely played down to our competition. Under Penny Hardaway, we had a 5-seed year where we beat UConn and Michigan State. You know who we lost to that year? We lost to Arkansas State at home by 13 points. It's just a culture issue with Memphis, and I'm really hoping that Charles Huff can get around it. But we rarely beat teams we're supposed to beat by the amount of points we're supposed to beat them. I don't care how much we win by. I'm happy with the win. But these risky situations when we're in often end in us losing to UAB. And I think Tulane might be able to do it. However, I think if a team is going to do it this year, I don't think it's Tulane. I'm sticking with Memphis. Someone that we're not supposed to lose to, we will lose to. But it won't be Tulane, is my prediction. Then I'm going to take ECU against UAB. South Florida over Kent State. And then UTSA over Navy, I'm definitely sticking with. FAU against Rice, I'm going with the Owls. I said it again. Memphis, I'm going to take at home against ECU. On the road, that's a different story. We have a 3-game skid against them. Let's fix that now. Taking the Tigers to start 8-0. North Texas and Navy, definitely going with North Texas at home. On the road. I don't like picking against the service academies. I hope they do well, but it's not looking good for Navy this year. Then Army at Tulsa. I think I'm going to go with Army here. I'm just feeling an on-the-road win. And then Tulane, I think, will beat UTSA. Again, UTSA is so much better at home than they should be and so much worse on the road than they should be. Then Tulane at Charlotte. I don't think Tulane's dropping that one. ECU at home against Temple should be a win. Memphis at home against Army. This is our first time playing in the same conference. This year it's just not looking good for the Black Knights. Navy against Notre Dame. Now, that's a real tough one, but I think I'm going with the Fighting Irish. Then, FAU and North Texas. I think I'm going to go with the Mean Green here. I like North Texas this year. I'm really surprised at how well they've held it together after the same thing happened to them that completely destroyed Tulane. And South Florida also rebounded very well from losing a coach. I'm taking them against UAB. Then in Week 10, we've got Air Force at Army. Definitely taking Air Force. No, I'm sorry. Already took Army there. Definitely sticking with that. I'm going to take South Florida on the road against ECU. I'm going to take FAU at home against UTSA. And I'm going to take, I think I'm going to take Navy at home against Temple. I'm going to take Tulane against Tulsa, which means they will go to a bowl game despite the lackluster roster. And I think at home, I'm going to give UAB a win. I think they can get a win against an FBS and conference opponent. Excuse me. Good job, UAB. If my predictions are correct, you did it. Then North Texas a win against Rice. I don't think Rice is as bad as the 2-7 record would indicate, but that's the hand they're dealt. That's the schedule they get. ECU and Charlotte. I'm going to take ECU on the road. Tulane and Rice. I'm taking the Owls. We need a counter for that. I'm going to go with the Owls. Then, also, I haven't picked North Texas to lose a conference game yet, apparently. That's interesting. And Temple beats UAB. Oh, I almost want to pick Tulsa. Oh, I want to pick Tulsa. That's such an offensive battle. I don't think either of their defenses are very good, which means it comes down to who has the better offense. And in this case, it's FAU, who I am predicting to have an 8-2 start. Wasn't expecting that, but looking at the schedule. And now this is definitely the biggest game in the conference. Again, Memphis always going to drop one that we're not supposed to drop. Oh, looking at the schedule, I know who it is. But I don't think it's South Florida. I don't think it's South Florida. Again, last year we were trash. South Florida wasn't, and yet we went to Tampa and we beat them in a thriller game, by the way. Very fun game. Probably the only one we had that year other than Arkansas. I'm going with the Tigers to start 10-0. 10-0 Tigers. Memphis looking to have a great year. South Florida 7-3, probably not as good as I was expecting them to. And then UTSA, I think I will take in the Alamo Dome against North Texas. Someone's got to beat them. And now going into Week 12, we've got ECU at Army. I think I'm going to go with ECU for 8 wins, and that is 5 conference wins. South Florida FAU, I don't think FAU can keep the incredible win streak I've been picking them to have going that long. I think I am going to go with South Florida on the road. And this is the game that's going to get us. It's always Navy. We can never beat Navy. They always beat us. They're always better than us. Every single time, Navy does not lose to us. I picked Memphis to lose a game. Therefore, I was not completely biased the entire video. And then, see here, this is a lose-lose, because no matter who I pick, I'm going to say I'm going with the Owls. It's Rice at Temple. And I think I'm going to go with Temples. I'm going to go with the Owls here. Charlotte at Tulsa. That's probably one for Tulsa. Charlotte, I don't think this is bad. I don't think it's bad enough to go 1-10 with most schedules, but I guess that's the schedule they got. And it looks like they're going to go 1-10 to start the season. Then Tulane at North Texas. I think I'm actually going to take North Texas. I'm just not high on Tulane this year. And then UTSA on the road gets win number 8 against UAB. And finally, Week 13, you got Navy at Charlotte. That's a win for Navy for sure. Oh, we finally get to do Army-Navy week. That's this year. That's this episode. FAU at ECU. I'm going to go with the Pirates. Meaning they finished 9-3. FAU was 8-4. Charlotte, unfortunately, 1-11. I don't think they're that bad. We'll beat Temple. 11-1 season for the Tigers. Which, by the way, last year I predicted us to go 8-4. So maybe I'm not being biased. Maybe we really are that good. We'll see. Go Tigers. Then Army at Rice. I think I'm going to take Rice. Rice at home goes 4-8. Army still has one more game to go. Let's see. UAB at North Texas should be a win for North Texas, meaning they finished 9-3. UAB 2-10. They won a game. They're happy against an FBS opponent. Then South Florida and Tulane should be a win for the Bulls, meaning that it looks like we're going to have, no matter what, we're going to have North Texas and Memphis in the conference championship. Then Tulsa and UTSA. That's going to be a win for UTSA in the Alamo Dome. 9-3 record for the Roan Runners. Very nice. Tulsa 3-9. I don't think they're that bad, but that's the schedule they get. And now, Army-Navy week. This is for the Commanders Cup. I picked both of these teams to beat Air Force. I'm definitely still comfortable with that. And honestly, Navy's just so much better this year. I'm taking the Midshipmen to win the Commanders Cup. I don't think they did. Who won? Didn't Army win last year? Didn't Army win? Yeah, Navy. That's right. Navy won 17-16. So, which means Navy is going to three-peat the Commanders Cup. That is their third straight victory. Army almost had them last year. Were probably better the year before and got walloped. And once again, Navy's going to get the victory here. Meaning it's now conference championship time. We've got Memphis and North Texas. The two teams do not play in the regular season this year. And last time they played, I believe it was a thriller of a game. 52-44 the final score. Back and forth all game. North Texas consistently made long, 80-yard plays, 90-yard plays for touchdowns. Memphis kept just driving them to the end zone, just scoring, being unstoppable. Just got to slow it down, be efficient. And I think the game, looking at the two rosters, will be pretty similar this year. A lot of very fast play style, a lot of explosive play now, worry about the defense later. kind of mentality for North Texas. And for Memphis, it seems like we're looking for consistency. We're not looking to make crazy plays every time. And honestly, I think I'm going to take Memphis, and a surprise to everyone. Go Tigers. That's going to be a 12-1 season. Depending on how the Pac-12 shakes out, might mean that Memphis is my pick for the G6 playoff representative. That will do it for the American Conference. We will see you next week for the Pac-12.